I said 5 in the morning. I wake up to 5 for my yearnings. Fear in my mind is a warning. Praying to the one you're relying. I've been wandering all day. Tried to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me. I tried to get by, but I'm burning. Put me behind, my mind it runs. All these thoughts I'm troubling. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the other side. When it's time to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need. Right there, I really need time now. I need to free mind now. I really need mind now. I really need.
Is that bitch o'clock? Yeah, it's 6:30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the building? It's been a minute, tell me how you're healing. Cause I'm about to get into my feelings. How you feeling? How you feel right now? Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah. Oh, I'm not the girl I was or used to be. Bitch, I might be better. Turn up the music, turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright. Okay, alright. It's about damn time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I'm a rude boy, you. I'm a rude boy, you get it up. I'm a rude boy, you should big enough. Take it, baby, yeah, yeah. I'm a rude boy, you get it up. I'm a rude boy, you should big enough. Yeah, baby, yeah. Tonight I'ma let you be the captain. Tonight I'ma let you do your thing, yeah. Tonight I'ma let you be a rider. Giddy up, babe. Tonight I'ma let it be fire. Tonight I'ma let you take me higher. Tonight, baby, we could get it on, yeah. We could get it on, yeah. Do you like it, boy? Want, what you want. Give it to me, baby, like boom. What I want is what you want, nah. I'm a rude boy, can you get it up? I'm a rude boy, you should big enough. Yeah. I'm a rude boy, can you get it up? I'm a rude boy, you should big enough. Yeah. Tonight I'ma give it to you harder. Tonight I'ma turn your body out. Relax, let me do it how I wanna. If you got it, I need it, and I'ma put it down. Got the love, I'ma give it to you stronger. Heads up, we can go a little longer. Tonight I'ma get a little crazy, baby. Like it, boy, I want. Give it to me, baby, like boom.
See the stars all the way from here. Can't you see the glow on the window pane? I can feel the sun whenever miles away. Everybody asks me why I'm smiling not from ear to ear. But I know love is perfect, but it's worth it after fighting through my tears. And finally you put you're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gives your all. You're the one that always calls when I need you. Make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top. Ooh, come on, baby, you put my love on top, 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 top. You put my love on top. Ooh, come on, baby, you put my love on top, 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 top. My love on, love on, love on, love on, love on, love on, love on.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Must have spent 45,000 on CDs. Oh no! Got a badass kids running around my whole crib like a Chuck E. Cheese. Whoa, no! In the chair with an X-Man in a UFC. Can't believe it. I'm in disbelief. This got me paying the rent, paying for this. Diamonds on the neck, diamonds on the wrist. Here I am all alone, all alone. I'm so cold, I'm so cold. You got me out here. Open up the window, singing how, 'cause she don't listen to me.
Kill 'em with the
yeah.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. See, thank you, Light Eyes. I was muted. Hello, welcome to a safe place. I'm still recuperating from the phenomenal Fedora Cigars Music Festival this past weekend. I didn't get home until probably about a little 24 hours ago. So I'm still, if we had a time last night was a person, that's me right now. So when I say phenomenal event, it was so much love, so much joy to meet everybody. You know what, Prodigy? Can somebody put Prodigy in the corner, please? Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Put him over there with tape over his mouth and all of that. Okay, good. Thank you. And salute to Beauty's Vibes for the music. Dope. Thank you so much. But anyway, again, phenomenal. Shout out to Chanel B. She's in the stream. I mean, she put this whole thing together. It was amazing just to meet new people, new Twitch family, see, Twitch family I've met before, but the event was just phenomenal for breast cancer. I can't say enough. We had so much fun, just having fun. But anyway, shout out to her. I'm looking forward to the next one. Hint. So again, welcome to a safe place. We tonight have decided to discuss mental health in the education system. Where's the gap? So, I've been thinking what we have been missing in the education system. I've seen so much as far as lack of mental health care, lack of teachers, getting mental health care. If a child has a mental health illness, a teacher that is not certified or do not know how to handle it, it imposes more problems. So where are we? Where are we? Where's the gap? How can we help close it or find the resources to help close it? So this was a very important topic that, I really thought that we need to cover, especially with the pandemic happening, virtual learning. Some parents didn't know how to help their children with work. Just, it was everything. And so now that kids are transitioning back, where are they mentally? Where are our educators mentally? Is there anything that the education system is doing to help? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I see you, Keitha, Fran. I see We Are One, Team We Are One. Again, Prodigy stays in the corner. But I'm going to bring up my co-host, Christian Levin, because we're going to kind of go through some things before we bring up our guest. So here we go.
Hey everyone. Finally. I'm not muted, am I?
No. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, girl. I literally, like less than an hour ago, just woke up from the best nap ever, and it's still raining outside.
When I saw you text.
Like, woo, I'm still tired, but I'm here.
Yes. Me too. Y'all probably been like, "Where's Beauty? Where's Beauty?" Because she's not on yet. Because I'm telling you.
Thank you, Light Eyes.
I just wanted to be in the bed all day, but
hey,
the best lady. Hello. Hey, I am so. Hello. So shout out to Team Dopeness. We Are One Mod Sanctuary. It's a lot of them, so we're gonna try to go through them because I always want to shout out our team because without them, I couldn't do what I do. So there's Lex Diamonds, Christian Levin, Fran, M. Claudia, DJ Tank, Felicia Splishy, Light Eyes, Jennifer. Um, we had some new Mrs. Yvonne 76, the Mrs. Sweet Tea. Am I missing anybody? Our team
Did you
is
mention
so
Prodigy, or is Prodigy not really a mod? He just
he's
comes
not
in.
really a mod. He's just a space right now. He's just a space.
DJ
Yeah,
Tank.
DJ Tank. So I mean, we're kind of locked in loaded, and I appreciate them so much for their yeses. Blade is truth.
Oh
Um,
yes, that's the sis.
so yeah, shout out to my team. So Krish, hey Mr. Drew UK, whatever Prodigy, go
You
to the
stay
front,
here for the music.
whatever. So Krish, I know I gave you a bit of homework to do. So tell us what you found.
Well, I had some questions for the panel when they came up,
Okay.
but me personally, I don't know if people know that I am a nurse and I do neonatal intensive care, but I have a sister, my younger sister is a first grade teacher. And so having to support her during this pandemic has been crazy. Finally, she started therapy. That's probably like last year she started therapy, but she works for a system that is low income. So she
Mhm.
already had problems before the pandemic. And afterward, it just exploded. Like these poor kids are just, they didn't have support before. They really struggling now. Um, so it's just interesting. I want to hear everybody's thoughts about how their school districts are. She's in a school district in Illinois, low income. And I know the three people coming on are in different parts as well. It'll be nice to see how it all like connects somehow. But I know the main thing is like common, the teachers need to be trained to help these kids, and they're not really, I don't know if they don't have the resource to be trained like that to deal with it, or they just can't because like my sister, ever since she started first grade, she has at least 20, 25 kids, sometimes 30 kids in her room. So, and she always seems to have the trouble kids, the kids that need extra attention. So it can get hard. It can get hard to try to, weed out who could she help and who she can't. Like it's almost like the good kids get kind of neglected because you're putting all your attention to the bad kids. I put it in quotes because you're really not supposed to call bad, but I don't know
Right.
what other terms you can use for it.
Right.
Because it's and a lot of kids have older siblings that are just on YouTube and social media all day, so they see all that and they act out with that, and they don't have a
Mhm.
lot of good help at home. So even college students, there's a lot of I was seeing some articles about college students saying that their depression is worse and being able to concentrate has been worse. So it's from preschool all the way to college level. Everybody's having issues, and you don't have enough people to help them. Like even if there is resources, some people, I've had friends that has to wait so long just to get a therapy session. It's
Right.
like backlogged. So
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's where we are. And that's, one of the reasons that coming on Twitch was so important because, of course, knowing the backlog of receiving help, was so long. It's one of the reasons why I got with my team, my resources to say, hey, can we offer some volunteer assistance, in the moment until they can get some help. And so it's you gotta give to get back. And when you see there is a backlog of appointments to where you can't get one for 9 months to a year, it's like, what do I do?
mhm.
So that was one of the reasons too that I wanted to start this platform to be able to offer people coaching sessions, helping them get through some coping mechanisms, helping them get in the right direction. And my whispers have like kind of blown up with that. So even in the midst of that, trying to juggle who has the most need, that I can assist in that, I can pull some of my people in to help assist with them. So that's kind of been my challenge, is to kind of be able to say, okay, which one has the most critical need? And, also be able to balance work, my schedule, volunteering, all of that. So,
And it's hard.
it's hard, but we got to try, because it's trying to get an appointment is kind of very slim, when it comes to being closed. So what we're going to do is bring up our guests and allow them to, answer those questions, because those are very good questions. So I'm bringing up J Trey.
J Trey.
RL Breezy.
Ooh, Breezy.
I still want to know why he is the way he is. And beautiful Diva, my
Diva.
sister.
You better be driving. You better not. You driving? Girl.
Mute.
Okay.
Mute. There we go.
On mute, on purpose. I did that on purpose. I know I was yes. But yeah, I told her that when we talked about this. I said part of the way I'm going to be in the car. So
You did.
Well, please be safe driving, please.
girl, I'm in LA traffic. I'm good.
Okay, so you just crawling right now. Crawling. Okay, we good.
That, yeah.
Let's give a few shout outs. I see Disco Darren in the building. Welcome, Brown Eyes. Risky Ringo, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you this weekend. I was able to meet Risky Ringo. Stay lifted, my queen. Hello. DJ Meek, Madam X, welcome. Thank you for being here. All right, I think we've reached out to everybody. Okay, so were you all able to hear what Chris was asking? Okay, so first of all, if you all would do a brief introduction of who you are, what do you do as far as education and the grades?
And where you are, like what?
Yeah, where you are.
Yeah.
Diva.
Okay, I guess I'm getting called out first.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I'm on the West Coast in California, in Los Angeles. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm in Los Angeles. I work with preschool and pre-K. I'm a lead teacher, mentor teacher. And yeah, that's it. But I now work for a private sector. I did used to work for Head Start program. I've done like the public school programs with it, but I'm in a private sector now.
Okay.
Breezy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm in Chicago, the south side of Chicago area. I teach science, middle school endorsement. The past few years, I've been teaching 8th grade, and it's been strictly science. But I also get into sports. I coach basketball, I coach volleyball, I've coached soccer, and I've done mentoring as well.
Okay.
And I do work charter schools. So I'm not sure how many people are familiar with charter schools, but it's a different
No,
sector
we
of public
want to get it.
schools.
Yeah, we want to get into that.
Okay.
All right, I guess I'm up next. And I'm also out on the West Coast. I teach for LA Unified, which is the second largest school district in the country. Large urban district, low graduation rate, high needs population. By credential, I'm a special ed teacher. The majority of my career, I've always moved between middle and high school. Past couple of years, I've moved between middle and high school. I am currently back in high school. I'm doing 12th grade. I also, I actually still work from home virtually because LA Unified created a legitimate school, 5 virtual academies, because there's a definite percentage of people that didn't want to return to school. And when you think about 600,000 students, you know, 10% of that, 1% of that is 6,000. So yeah, I'm at a virtual academy. It's independent study. And so that's been kind of a journey in and of itself. And on my background end, I've done a lot of mentorship. I've worked with a lot of at-risk kids. And actually my background before I started teaching was I worked in group homes and residential treatment facilities.
Wow. This is a lot of experience right here in the camera. So, Krish, I'm gonna give it to you to ask those questions again, because those were very good questions.
Well, one of the first questions I asked, do you guys have good training programs that help train you to deal with, like I said, I say bad kids, but are you guys trained well enough to deal with them? Or is it something you gain from experience?
You know, it's a combination of two. It all depends on the district that you lie in. The sector that I work in now is totally different from where I started. I first started my career in a suburban school. They were really thorough on training you how to manage behaviors. They had specialists that come in during institute days, and they would do follow-ups. On the flip side, I'm in a charter school now in the inner city where the training is very slim. It's more so like a quick microwave method of showing you how to operate with these kids, and then there's no follow-up. That's been my experience within the inner city school district, but having that training that I had in the suburbs, I've actually implemented that over to where I'm at now. So I'm a lead 8th grade teacher as well too, and so I'm able to kind of incorporate those skills in that particular space there. And so experience definitely plays a role in it, but then you also depends on your school district, and I speak for Chicago in that case there. Ladies, you can also speak on it as well.
Go ahead, Diva, you're driving.
Yeah, I was about to say I'll go because this will be quick for me, because Trey got a lot more background on her end as far as this goes. But definitely in my particular field with my age group, there is training available, but it is not mandatory. So the thing is that when you're dealing with the early childhood education system, there's a very basic amount of college units that you need, right? And there are some people who will go beyond that, and then they will get what they need, and that will add in those classes that will give you the information that you need to be able to deal with this. First, I want to address the Chris 11 saying, I know you're not supposed to say bad thing, because it's a pet peeve of mine, because I do work with young children, and especially at that age, because I don't blame children for anything that they do. They learn things. They do have their own personalities, but we don't use the term bad because it sets a negative connotation. It is, we use the word, they have challenges, or, you know, what is it that we can fix? So they may have challenges that we have faced, and then those are the things that we need to work on. So that's what we would say in that. I know we grew up with the badass kids over there, you know, and talking like that, because that's how our elders were, and that's pretty much what it was. If you're misbehaving, you are bad.
Right.
No, there's something going on there that you're not addressing with their child. So yes, there are experiences, a big portion of it. There are college courses available or separate courses available that people can take advantage of. And if you actually go through the system to get your credentials and get your degree, in most education systems, you're required to take at least basic child psychology or child and adolescent psychology course. And then we're also required to take a basic early childhood development course, which in my opinion, I feel like first-time parents should have to take. It is like one of the most beneficial things that you will ever learn about how to deal with communicating with your children and things like that. You start realizing things about yourself. So with that being said, I took it further myself and took abnormal psych as well, because that was something that I became interested in. I like the way the mind works, and I like to figure out what's going on with these children. And, you know, that's what's helped me pinpoint certain things with them. So with that being said, the training itself is very bare minimal. As far as identifying things, no. So teachers have to speak up and tell these school districts and and whatnot, or wherever they are, what they need, because they can reach out and get that information and get the training for them. But if they don't say anything about it, it's not going to happen. If they don't go outside and do it on their own, it's not going to happen. And I even work in a private sector, and it's not available there. So we have to do it on our own. And we don't even have resources in our school to provide to the parents, because they have to do it on their own. But public schools do. They have it right there on site, and that's why they have a separate area for counselors and, for health and things like that deal with like what Jay Trey deals with, and that's her specialty. But
that LA traffic.
Let me interject while she jumped in. She mentioned some key points too that fails to go notice in education. There are some areas that do provide those resources. So those in the chat who's familiar with Chicago, we have this street called Roosevelt, 1200 South. It runs east and west. Anything south of Roosevelt tend to have less resources provided by the state. Anything north of Roosevelt, they tend to have all the resources, everything that they need to support those kids. And unfortunately, a majority of those kids are north of Roosevelt does not have this color skin. And that's one of those things that we kind of deal with consistently in the city of Chicago.
Wow.
She's back. Okay. And just one more thing that she mentioned there too about the parents not receiving the resources they need as well. It's always there, but that's another lack in the community where parents are not being educated on how to support their kids. That's something that I cry about all the time to my administration.
And I didn't even know they had those resources for parents. Like, man.
They have them as early as a lot of, as even in the age groups that I work with. So what I'm saying, like in public schools and the higher up you get, they have departments that deal with that kind of stuff. And that's why they have things like IEPs and whatnot. But like where I work, it's not available. But then when I was in the Head Start system, because that was a public system and it's a federally funded system, it was available. The difference is, depending on what demographic you're in, if I'm working in an inner city area and parents are not aware, what happens is, because of the stigma that goes with mental health and especially people of color, you can say something to these parents and they might not want to hear what you have to say. And in those systems, they do have IEPs available. We were able to start an IEP from 3 years old that would carry them through however many grades they need to give them what they need assistance-wise. And some people just were not, they weren't trying to hear that. Like they're not receptive to it. So that's the disheartening part, right? So what we started doing when I was there was we would do these parenting courses or like these seminars, and they would be free. And the parents would come and then they would be able to talk to them about these things, and then they would start to understand. I got lucky enough to have parents who listened to me. So when I would notice certain things, I was able to talk to these parents and get IEPs started and get the process going for these children, whether it was because I felt like they might have been on the spectrum, it could have been speech, it could have been anything. And with these, differing abilities, you can pinpoint them early if you're paying attention and if you're aware of what to look for if you start to see signs. But there are some people that do not know what signs to look for if they don't see these things. And that's where it all comes into play. And then they're not communicating with the parents. And if you're not communicating with the parents to see what you're seeing at school is what they're doing at home, and things are not adding up or they're completely different and nobody's addressing it, that just makes it not work. So it really just depends on where you are, how much you want to advocate for that child, or the parent wants to advocate if they have concerns. There's so many factors to this. When I tell you, I could go on. I see so much, even at young ages. And that's literally where it starts. It is the early intervention that makes the biggest differences when it comes to anything, especially with mental health. And then later on, if something triggers in and it makes it happen then that's something that those teachers do. But when you get in a public school system and you're dealing with 20, 30 kids in class, I have 22 in my class when I'm not by myself and I have two teachers. It's me and, whoever I'm coaching. But when you get into these other schools, you have one teacher and up to 30 kids. So they're not catching every little thing. And the parents are the ones that need to say, you know, hey, I'm noticing this about my child. I got lucky. My son had a teacher who paid attention. So we got him assessed and he got help with his speech. Thank God that helped in elementary school, but he's not at LAUSD. He's in Culver City district. It's a whole different type of district, whole different type of school system and different types of teachers, different demographics. So it really just depends on the area, the type of school, and all that.
And quickly, before we go on, for people that don't understand what IEP means, what's the definition of IEP?
It's an
Individualized
education plan.
educational plan.
All right,
We
one
all
person
say
say it,
that.
because I'm
Kids
slow.
in the class.
Seriously, can I talk? Baby daddy
Jay,
cut me off,
Jay.
going out, and
Let's
I'm a special
elaborate.
ed
Let's
teacher,
wrap
y'all.
up.
Jay, I'm so sorry. And that's how
No,
you,
you're
that's how
not, but-
educate. That's how they're treated in school
No,
too,
you're
right?
not. I was gonna go
Special
walk my
education
dog
get
and
pushed to
come
the
back.
side.
Okay, Jay.
Hold on,
Go
whoever
ahead.
needs to finish, but then can
Go
I
ahead,
put
Jay.
one
Yes.
cent in?
Yes, put it in. Go ahead, darling.
Oh no, somebody wasn't done, so I'm just gonna wait.
Well, I was actually the one who said that I was about to say this is Trey's line of expertise. So you want to have her elaborate,
This is gonna be brief.
you know.
All right, ding, 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 ding. Round one. All right, so
Don't worry, I'll
Jay
just say my
Trey,
piece and then
Jay
look,
Trey, you have the floor. You have the floor, Trey.
shoot, because I actually wrote answers to your questions. So I'm being anal right now. It's excuse me. Blame it on Breezy because he cut me off. I just got one more thing to say.
Breezy
No,
stays
I-
in
I
trouble
will
on
say
these push
this,
streets.
In regards to the training, and again, I work for the second largest school district, New York City being the largest. The sad reality, and they both spoke to it, it is at a minimum. And unfortunately, a lot of times, particularly with the big districts, stuff comes as a result of lawsuits. Somebody had to have gotten hurt. Somebody had it's because all of a sudden we'll see a whole new training popping up. And it's because, and typically it can be traced back to somebody dropped the ball somewhere. Now, I will say that prior to the pandemic, we're a district that was already in bad shape with a tremendous amount of need for our families, emotional need, financial need, academic need. One thing, and I will say that in terms of also with the training with teachers, it's a couple of things. If you have the experience or you know, or you understand, like Breezy has his training, I have my past experience in working in group homes, you're going to be able to handle that. But a lot of these teachers and the new kids, the young ones, they're coming in, they don't know anything except classroom and classroom scenarios, and when they went to go observe, they always were shown the very best teacher with the best kids. So you have that aspect of it. Now, I will say this for the state of California is every state got pandemic funding. Every state. Now, how they dispersed it, I don't know how other states did it. I will say this, in California, obviously LAUSD, because we're the largest district in the state, that obviously we got the big bulk of it. And some of the things that they put in, it was additional. They, first of all, and obviously this is going to be for academic and learning loss, but they doubled up in the high schools of core teachers. So in each classroom, there's going to be 2 English teachers, 2 math teachers, because they know the backlog of the learning. They added school psychologists. They added layers upon layers of mental health teams and stuff to really take a look at who is struggling. And, you know, it's been, I have to say, it has been pretty laser focused from what I've seen and what I've heard from my peers in terms of trying to identify you know, who's struggling. And I will say also that they've identified. I will say this. I agree with the premise of it. I'm wobbly on the fence of how they're implementing it, but I 100% support what they're trying to do. Is LA Unified identified because the demographics changed hugely almost overnight, where it went from in the 60s and 70s being a primarily African-American school district to the influx of Mexican and Central American families that came from the wars and all of that. And honestly, over the past 20, 30, 40 years, the focus has been tremendously on ELD, language acquisition for all of that. And a lot of our Black students and families sort of just receded. And it would be a source of bad statistics, but nothing else. Some of this money that came from the feds and the state, they used to create the Black Student Achievement Plan. And they created a whole, I don't even know it's a whole department from pre-K all the way up to 12 with educators, psychologists, curriculum experts. And they're implementing stuff in all the schools, including my independent study one, to again identify needs, address needs, things like that, both academically and social emotionally. So it's really weird because oddly enough, the district that has the biggest need is we've had a lot of resources flooded into us. However, I will say the parent engagement is really, really key. And it's almost like, I will say this, especially on my end, because again, virtual and independent study, they're dropping them off for babysitting. And I teach 12th grade. These kids are expected to graduate in June. And not only that, but these kids have had they only had one semester of high school that was regular. They went to their 9th grade year in the fall, and we went out on pandemic in the spring of their 9th grade year. And I will say this, I got at least half of my classes on the cusp, but I'm keeping it on the cusp through a variety of academic safety nets, all kinds of ways I can manipulate the grades so that I can see these kids across the finish line. And I will tell you now, kids do better when their families are involved. Kids do better and when I say family, it could be, I'm not going to say just mom and dad. I'm going to say grandma or auntie or maybe neighbor. Kids do better when there is an adult that holds them accountable every single day, and so that's the hard part. And I will say this, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this has been my mindset for the past 2.5 years. And this is the crazy part. Normally, bad things happen, and teachers and our classrooms are the refuge, in a sense. They come and they talk about it, or they come to school and we take their minds off of it. This is probably the first time in history we all went through the same shit together. The students, the parents, the teachers, the principal, all of us. And in real time, we had to adjust ourselves for the kids that we were facing and the families in the background. Even when it wasn't all right for us, we had to make it all right for, every single day, and I will say, it seems like with my district, there's not a lot of recognition of what for some of us, the pandemic is still going on, and they always say, oh, there's the employee assistance program. I'm not going to them. They're under my job. They don't need to know any of that. I'm lucky I got good insurance. And I will say, shout out to Kaiser, because I've been talking to my therapist 2 times a week. I mean, not 2 times a week. No, I'm not that crazy. 2 times a month. And since the lockdown, and I keep asking her, am I going to get this big ass bill? And she's like, no, it's been 2 years of therapy. And it's not just me, it's all of us that's been their Kaiser's little contribution, I guess, is realizing people still need support. So, I will say that, and they do, because I'm sure Breezy is seeing it, and I know I saw it before I went back to virtual, is a lot of this is manifesting with these kids and their behaviors, you know, and even a year later, still there's stuff, because some of the kids' homes were actual nightmares. And then they were locked down with them for a whole year plus. You know, so you know, the thing that bothers me, and we see this in every field, is, you know, there's the good teachers and then there's the crappy ones and the ones that phone it in and don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very hard to weed them out. And I hate that because they have very little empathy for what these students and their families are going through. You know, and that's the other,
too.
It's a roll of the dice in the education system, because you could really get a really dope teacher your kid's first year, and then all of a sudden your next year you got the crabby bitch who can't wait to retire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's the part that's always bothered me. And I just think there really needs to be an understanding that we all went through something. Some of us, actually, I still think we all continue to go through stuff.
Yes.
And it's got to be applied to each other, you know. And I don't, the district, I see it's a lot of lowering the hammer, because what they want to do is make up the gap.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't make that up in acceleration days.
Right. Right.
You know,
and also goes back to therapy. Like, why is the teacher grumpy in retirement? Like, I always look at nurses when they're about retirement. Everybody, you get the nurses that are like happy or you know, ready to go. You got the ones that are grumpy as hell. You got the ones that are sad and they're leaving. It's like, you know,
I will say this: they put a lot on. I can say even in my 22 years of teaching, I've seen a whole paradigm shift with kids, with their families, with society, with how we communicate, with the respect level, with the accountability level. I mean, I'll say this: I'm normally a cranky motherfucker, anyways. Sorry, Beauty, I didn't mean to curse. That's it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, she does. I mean, we have a disclaimer.
Okay. So yeah, I'm already that, but I will say this, and especially because and I'm getting, you know, I still got about another 10 to go. But this is what you start seeing the system for what it is. And it is a system. There's a reason they call it the educational system. And in all honesty, my true belief is the only people that have the truest connection are the people that are on the ground every single day with the students. So it burnout, because we also can't just be teachers. We're therapists, we're psychologists, we're nurses.
Everything.
We are, what is it called? We're mediators. We're referees. Am I missing anything, Breezy?
You said it all. You're the coaches. You like your brothers and sisters sometimes. Yeah, you're cooks. Yeah, you're the providers and everything.
Yeah,
I have a group of kids expecting me to bring them food every day because
not even that, but we locate food for the kids that come late and are hungry and missed AM breakfast. You
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
And Chris,
So
you had asked about the.
we have a few comments. You want to read those?
Yeah, well, let's see. Breezy, you were starting something right quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I was answering your question about, you know, like how are we as teachers dealing with that situation there. The more you get into the education, in some cases you learn how to dissociate yourself at times, because in my first 5 years of teaching, I work my butt off in the classroom, come home and spend another 6 hours working at home, trying to decipher how am I going to get through these kids the next day. But you have to learn how to separate the two at times. You know, I've gotten to a point, and I even spoke to our administrators about this. They had to respect it based on the quality that I give them in the classroom. I said, you know, when I'm at home, I'm at home. I have to be able to separate that to maintain myself. Otherwise, I will be burnt out, like early in my career. And I tell the kids the same thing. I say, hey, don't email me when I get home. My time is my time. Your time is your time. And I need you to respect it. And that's very important for us teachers to be able to have longevity in this path.
I know, because you got to have time for your TikToks too. I mean, you got to have your
Right.
time so I can
You
stalk
gotta
you on
have
TikTok
time.
and IG and
Period.
look at all your videos. Like,
Breezy, I do have to say that you are, I can imagine, I probably can imagine how you are in your class, but you have one of the funniest ways of detoxing and decompression, with the videos. Do your children ever see your
Oh,
video?
I got fans in my middle school. I have fans. They be all up on them. Like, Mr. Lee, I saw your post. I'm like, dude, you stay over there. I'm gonna stay over here. Get out my business. Dang.
So I mean, it sounds, that's the way of them decompressing and coping too of what you're doing. So I salute you for that. For you even bringing that to the table, because honestly, you get a lot of us through our day when we see your TikToks, and although we be like, why are you this way? But it's funny, and it's when you're scrolling and you might have like this going on, you see Breezy, and then it's just like, okay, I'm
Here we
done.
go again.
It's a wrap for the day. So
And,
I appreciate you
and
for that.
something that I do value about that as well too, especially when it comes to the kids, because kids have this impression that we are in the classroom 24 hours a day, that we don't leave that space. That's
Hey,
how
I
they see
tell them
us.
that. I tell them I go in the closet in summer and hang like a bat, and they'll see me in August when they come back. And when I have seventh graders, it works.
They believe it too. They will believe it.
Mhm.
But then they get a chance to see a lighter side of me. One thing about me, I'm very competitive, and I'm also very I'm passionate about anything that I do. I try to do it well, and I do that in the classroom, and I hold standards to these kids. And a lot of times, they don't always buy in right away. But it definitely takes time to build that rapport. And when they get a chance to see me being silly and lighthearted, they're like, oh, he is human. I have this one kid this year. We only in November. This kid could not stand me in the first few weeks. All of a sudden, I'm his favorite teacher now because he had a chance to see the full side of me, not just one side of me. And that's very important too. And that also helps you as well too, because you can connect better with those kids once they get a chance to see parts of you, because they want to know who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
That is I love it. We'll give a couple shout outs. New York Boss Lady, hello Queen, come on in. Sturdy Soul, come on in. We see you all. We thank you all for being here. A DJ called Quest, welcome. Glad you made it. Dub Kush, I saw your comment. Yes, I'm glad you made it too. But welcome to A Safe Place, where we're talking about mental health in the education system. Where's the gap? With with my co-host Christian Levin, and with our special guest Jay Trey, 707, DJ RL Breezy, and Diva 929. So it's been an interesting conversation, and I have like so many questions. Chris, do you want to start with what I want to ask, or you want to go to the star comments?
well, one that I saw, because I mean the chat's flying. Love everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in. One that popped out that I saw was, are we pushing kids to graduate prematurely? Like, because this pandemic kind of put everybody behind. Should we have just kept the kids behind a grade to catch up? Like,
I think
or
we should. But I legit do, but you can't, because then you're plugging up the pipeline, unfortunately. But I really believe that, because also, I mean, even though we're a national network of school districts, but we're not all. So yeah, I mean, I personally think absolutely they should have been given a year to do it over, because the not just the academic part, but I'm going to tell you, and I've now seen it on two different ends of adolescence. Most of y'all know last year I was doing the remote teaching and I had seventh graders.
Yeah.
Love that group of kids. They left fifth grade right before their elementary graduation to go on lockdown. Never went to sixth grade. Were with me remotely for seventh grade. I was telling the parents, you have got to get them back in school for real, because they're missing out on, I joke about it being surrounded by 400 of your equally smelly peers, but there is something to be said about being amongst your peers. And I'm seeing it now with my 12th graders, my 17-year-olds who are starting to turn 18. No, it's not a teacher's job to meet a quota. Absolutely not. I know it's rumored, but no. And these kids never had high school. They had one semester of ninth grade. They're not prepared in a variety of ways, and they are going to be moving on. And I'll say this, I'm going to be dead ass honest with you. And again, I teach kids that have IEPs, they're in special ed, great group of kids, really great group of kids. It's funny, is they're the quietest bunch I ever had. They don't want to talk, and I'm slowly working on getting it. They'll talk to me privately in a breakout room, but not in a whole class, because they done been through some shit. One girl just had a 1-year anniversary of her mom dying of COVID, But I will say this, am I going to be the asshole that fails them so they can go through yet a whole nother year of what's already been a disastrous high school experience? Nah. I'm going to get them ready like I do every single day with all the organization of stuff. And I keep saying to them, this is what either college or future education or a job is going to expect of you. You got to be able to do this, this, and this. And I shouldn't be asking, are you done? Because so that's my way of doing it, because they haven't learned what they needed to in these 3 years, because it's been a patchwork quilt of different academic programs, substitute teachers for virtual because they couldn't hire it. So yeah, I think they should have had that year, but to be able to exhale, learn, resettle themselves, but I don't see how you could do it without backing it up everywhere else.
Right. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you, and the pandemic really has, I feel, brought more, of course, harm to the education system, its students and educators. It sounds like, Breezy, when you were with the comment about it was one comment about the getting paid, that is your responsibility, where you kind of the quota where you kind of gonna push back on that.
One more time.
So I'm gonna say it's kind of different from where I'm at. In that case, there that was it's almost like a silence thing. So I know in some places say like it's a rumor, but in my space there, where you have teachers who were not able to push these kids forward, they were let go the following year, especially in charter school.
Because it's a charter school.
Yeah, and that may be the difference there. There is an at will, so they can drop you at any time. Yeah, no union and whatnot.
Yeah,
and so that is important in our space.
So are the
I can
contracts?
speak from a parent perspective and tell you yes. I can speak from a parent perspective and tell you yes. I had a teacher who just recently actually reached out to me. My son has a collab math class on purpose because he needs help with like organizational skills, even though he has a high aptitude for math. And his teacher, thank God, he has a really dope collab teacher who literally will reach out to me and say, hey, here's what's going on. What should we do? We talk and everything. That does not happen all the time, okay? But that's because I've always stayed on top of stuff, so they know already. So his counselor from middle school, when he went to high school, made sure to get that translated over. Like reach out to his parents because they are going to ask questions, especially his mom. So yeah, I just talked to him like a week ago, and he was telling me about this new program where He's like, I can put him in that, but the difference between the grading is they'll only grade him on a percentage as opposed to the whole thing. And that will have him pass the class, but it will not count towards college credit. I'm not gonna let my child be lazy unless I know there's like if he had, you know, some sort of differential, then yes, that would make sense, right? But I already knew what the problem was with this one. I said he's not studying, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, and here's what the problem is. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. He's like, I didn't even have to tell you. I said, okay, so then we're not gonna let him slack. I'm gonna hold him accountable. He needs to do this, he needs to do that in order to be able to make sure these grades. I said, or if he slacks, that's gonna be on him, but we're not gonna pass him on a test just because he chooses to be lazy and not do work. So they have ways to help them like scoot through because they're trying to just put them in and out of there. And I'm like, no. So it really just depends on the real actual needs of, you know, the student.
Wow.
And we need parents that are like you that are pushing their kids.
Yes.
Because there are parents that don't check if their kids have homework. They're just gonna come home and do whatever, and then they're not involved in their kids at all. Like they don't know what parent-teacher conferences are. They just don't care. And it's sad.
Chris, let me speak on that too.
There's no accountability for that. None. I do
Chris,
want to
so-
address, I saw what State Lifted it put about the supplemental, you know, things like the supplemental curriculum and stuff. You know, and I agree. And here's the kicker: is it turned into an absolute, excuse my phrase, it turned into a shit show here in LA because the superintendent, he was not because it made it all in the papers. He didn't consult with the teachers union. He just said, this day, and this day, we're adding 4 years to the calendar. You're going to show, you know, and then it was some weird, kids can voluntarily show up. Teachers can, it made no sense. And even the teachers union, because I'm not too happy with, I'm pro-union, but my union annoys the shit out of me. It turned into a political cluster. It was just a battle until he backed down and said, okay, you know, so now he's throwing those acceleration days, wait for it, on Christmas break and spring break. I mean, but yeah, it was a mess. I mean, the money is there, the need is there, and the proper intent for most of us is there. But everybody in charge, it became a political football of how they want to handle it. So the true purpose got lost in the sauce of politics.
I am seeing so many comments about like different things that people are experiencing from sport, just the support. So, you know, in order for, you know, everybody to be heard on what they, you know, their comments, Chris, you want to just, you know, call out, you know, whenever.
Yeah, I can do that. Also, Breezy was about to say something.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your thoughts, please.
Yes.
Yes, supporting what Diva mentioned about the parent support, like just firsthand. This is year 16 for me teaching. In my 16-year experience, and I've never gotten over like 30% parental support. And I try to find I've tried every different possible way to get parents to be involved. I made it a point this year to every day I send parents the agenda for what we're working on. Because there's a high percentage of kids who don't finish their work. And it's basically telling them, this is what they're working on. When they get home, just check and see if they've done it. And I try to surround it with saying, you know what, this would be a perfect time to connect with your child for 5 minutes a day. And that's a big issue. And it's not just the parents, society also plays in that too. How many households where you have parents who have to work all day, but they don't even get to see their kids? And then their kids have to be the parents at home as well too. And so that's a whole nother issue as well there too. And a society pushes that on us, right?
Yes.
But I do this every single day. I may get a response once or twice a week. And this is 5 days a week where I respond telling the parents, this is what we're working on. Can you check on it and follow up with me? I'm trying to get you to follow up. Hey, tell me that I checked it, or is he doing okay? I don't even get that.
I'm a piggyback on Breezy for a second. That's unfortunately starting even as early as preschool. I can't get parents to do anything. And I'm in a private school now where parents are not required. When I was at Head Start, parents were required to do a certain amount of volunteer work, whether it be in the classroom, outside of the classroom, but in the school and things like that. But getting them involved was hard. And it was to the point to where they would give up till stuff, and then when the volunteer forms were due, because that's part of our fund. Well, that was part of our funding when I worked in those programs. That we would just have to forge it. Like we'd be like, here, just take these papers home and cut them. I even now create things I create family projects for my families to do with their kids, 4 and 5-year-olds. You want to come to me asking about academic and why my child isn't doing this, that, and the third? Well, guess what? I'm now giving you homework to do with your child at home. And it's simple stuff. They don't even barely get that done. And it's like I give you reminders and everything. It starts that early. And I'm trying to get them used to it so that way they can know to try to be involved. And I'm in their ear. When they head to elementary school, here's what you need to look for. Here's what you need to ask. Here's what you need to make sure you take care of. Check their backpacks. Check all these things. Check, with their teachers. Because if they don't, and I've had some parents come back to me and say, I should have listened to you. And I'm starting it now. I'm like, once or twice a month, I give you guys a project to do. A simple project. I get 2 or 3 kids out of 12 that I have now because I'm by myself. So imagine when I have all 22 of my children and there's some teachers and I send it. I might still only get 5 or 6 kids that will come back with stuff. And then the other children in the class are like, well, I didn't have anything. And they're all sad. Their parents are like, I didn't know about it. I send you messages every day. They have an app. They have an app that you can look at. I send you messages every day. But then you want to come to me asking why I didn't send a picture that day or anything of that nature. Can you do the important stuff? Or why is this child reading, 3-letter words, but this one isn't?
And piggyback
My
on
sister,
that,
yeah.
with people older,
Their
'cause
parents
here's
are
the thing
involved.
that
There's a difference.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's
I was
fine.
just ad-libbing,
I
but
was
yes.
going to say, piggybacking on when they get older, for all the years that I was doing middle school, if I talk to a parent and I just ask them, I'm like, do you know who your kids' friends are? Oh, yeah, it's so and so and so and so. And it's like, no, that may have been who he came in with from 5th grade, but he hanging out with it's for some odd reason. It's almost like they let them loose on, like once they hit middle school, it's like go roam free on the range. And it's like, this is the time you got to be most locked in. Seriously, as you're teaching them to become independent, you got to be even more locked in on who they're with, what they're doing, what they're seeing, and who is influencing them. Seriously.
Jay, you know what I tell the parents, Jay? I always say you get what you inspect versus what you expect. And a light bulb comes up to them all the time. I'm like, keep that in mind.
Say that again for the people in the back.
I had a mom tell
By
me
the
today
way.
her kid has not been in school for 3 weeks, no, a month. And she says to me, I don't know or understand this email stuff. Lady, our school district offers classes in Espanol for you to learn this. Like, seriously, this is too much. This is too much. I flat out asked her, who enrolled your son?
We are going to have a part 2 on this because now that we're hearing what you all see, what you all face. Oh, it's getting ready to be a spinoff to this one. And Christian and I will get with you 3 to discuss that because I'm hearing a lot of non-parental involvement when it comes to when it comes to this, but yet with a parent-teacher conference, oh, you saying my child did this? No, my child didn't. Because they
never. It's not even that. It's you get the phone call run them down and my child says you did this to him in class. What?
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to
have to train
calendar. Come on.
That's why I said just for that. It's gonna be a whole part 2 to this right here. From just me hearing where some of you all's the gap. You know,
And we need parents on here too, because there's a lot of parents in the
Yes,
chat that's
in the
like
chat.
very involved
Exactly.
and da 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 da
Yes,
da.
Chris is
Yeah.
actually
This is
reading
the
my
thing.
mind. I was gonna say
That's
you need
preaching
get
to the
some
choir.
parents.
They're the good
Yeah.
parents. The parents
We're
that
gonna
need to
have,
hear this
it's
aren't
gonna
going
be a whole panel with parents and educators on here to
Yo,
discuss
Caboose,
that.
they had all the office managers, like the dean's office manager, the main office manager had my mom's number. They
And that's
stayed in
me.
my
I have every kid's parent in my phone. That's the first thing I do in the beginning of the year, so I can have instant contact to them.
Awesome,
Me
Breezy.
too.
Awesome, Breezy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Do
almost
you
like you're
all
teaching the kids, but you also have to train the parents too.
right?
Because
That's
the
what it
parents
seems
just think
like.
they can drop their kids off and they're fine, but no, you have to be involved in your kids. Like you can't just drop
Right.
them off.
But honestly, pending some of these age groups and like what district you're in and what loads they put on you, that's kind of hard, unfortunately. And like even when like I said, when I was in the Head Start system, I was like Breezy. I'm at work, but then I might have to cover in another room in the afternoon because it was only a half day system for a teacher that's out. Now I don't have time to go do my paperwork. And DRDPs take a lot of time. And those are like developmental observations basically that we have to fill out, and they were very extensive for each child, and those were necessary. Where I am now, it's a whole different ballgame for that. It's a lot less, right? Because just dealing with NACE accreditation as opposed to a state funded program that needs loads of paperwork and proof that what you're doing is working in the classroom or that you're actually doing the work is a whole different ballgame. So I would be at home up late at night doing DRDPs, putting together, portfolios, doing work. We didn't have money or funding, so we were buying supplies and doing things at home. So I'm cutting out stuff at home, and that's why we had to try to get the parents involved to help out with that kind of stuff. But that will burn you out, and you get tired, and you don't have time, for yourself or to separate work from home. Which is why I left the Head Start system, to be honest with you, because they don't even pay you enough to deal with that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's so many factors to it. When I
It's
tell you,
probably why I didn't have kids.
Layers
because I
after
felt like
layers.
I
Yep.
wouldn't have anything left for my own kids once I got home from work.
so you use all that energy
Because
into
the
these
ones
children
that care,
that
we
the
really
parents
put
gonna do
our
it.
whole into it.
You see all this salt right here?
Oh wow.
Kids.
Yeah, I can I
Oh, I
just
name
hearing
them. I used to name them. Esteban, that's you right here. I did.
Exactly.
So my question is, because we're gonna dive a little deeper into this topic on part 2, because as I say that I'm seeing a lot in the chat and just hearing what you all said. Where are you all? How do you all handle yourself mentally to be able to continue? What do you do for your mental health? Is there any programs that are offered? I look at Diva's face.
I smoke a lot of weed and drink.
How do you cope to be able to deal with the children, the parents, the educational system, the lack thereof? How, as educators, do you all cope? And we'll start with Breezy.
Okay. So I kind of touched on it earlier before too. You got to learn how to separate the things. One part about me, like I said, I am an overachiever when it comes to science. I'm a big science. I'm a science nerd, and I would come up with these ideas to try to make the kids go here when they are actually here, and it helps them achieve. But a lot of times they don't want to follow through with those things there, and that's frustrating. And then you have to, I guess, somewhat like dumb it down for them in some cases there. And I'm not a fan of dumbing anything down for these kids. My expectation to get them where they're supposed to be. So with that being said, I have moments where I know how to separate the two. I had a mentor who once told me, I had a mentor in the beginning of my school training who supported me. And one thing she said that stuck with me, she said, unfortunately, Reggie, you are not going to reach every kid. That hurts to hear that.
It does.
However, on the bright side, when you have a quality team in your building, there's always someone who can reach that kid. It's always someone. And that puts some, I guess, good in my heart to know I'm going to continue to do what I can do, but I'm also going to reach out to that teacher who connects with that person to try to keep them in the loop as you would with a parent. And so that does put ease in my heart, knowing that these kids can be supported in some way. And unfortunately, I won't reach them now, but down the line, I've had so many experiences. I'm in a middle school and high school. My seniors always come back to me like, thank you, Mr. Lee. Thank you, Mr. Lee. And so we always get that down the line, that these kids really appreciate what we do. And so knowing that these kids are doing better, that helps me mentally. Two, my wife is a social worker. So I have a social worker right in the house. My mother-in-law, so a lot of my family members are in the school system. So they kind of forewarn me the things that will come. And so having that energy in the house, and I have lovely kids who do well as well. So all those different things supports me and helps me get through it. And when I had those moments where nobody can reach me, I would go to the lakefront, I get on my bike and just ride on the lake and just in silence. That's one of my big things that I use for my mental health. I don't always need a person to talk to. Sometimes I just need my space and the environment. There's been times where the kids would really push me, and I said, you know what, you all, I need everybody to stop. I need a moment. It throws them off a little bit, like, huh? He needs a moment? I'm like, yes, I need a moment. Because if I continue, I'm going to probably say something to hurt your feelings, and you're going to go run and tell your mama. And so, I have
the
to talk like
extended
that.
version,
Sometimes
the wrong version.
But no, I said exactly how I said. Sometimes the hood come out of me, and it don't need to, and that's why you have to give my moments. I'm stepping back. I say, everybody, leave me alone. Just chill for a minute, and that helps me. A breather sometime, and just solidarity by myself.
Gotcha.
That's major for me.
Diva.
Pretty much, I do what Breezy does in the classroom with my young ones. I'll tell them, Timmy needs a moment. And they'll look at me and they'll go, he needs a moment. They'll talk to each other. I go like this. I'm done. Timmy needs a moment. I go, what do we do if we need to calm down? And they're like, we breathe, because I teach them breathing techniques. We have affirmations we do weekly that I do with them. They have all I am statements. They have so they're learning things like, to be peaceful, to be quiet, to breathe, to calm down, because social emotional skills are where we start with them. Okay, that's the main focus at that age. So I will tell them that, and then luckily I went from a stressful situation. I just removed myself from that particular situation at that school I was at before, because that was to one that actually cares about us. So I moved to a private sector where they care about our well-being, because they want retention and they want us to be able to do what we need to do for the children in the classroom. So they will give us, days where, they'll give us time out of the room to be able to complete work. So we're not trying to do it while we're in there with the children for paperwork and things like that. Or extra support in the classroom if they have extra subs that day if we need it, or we'll have just fun days, where they celebrate whatever's going on, or the teachers and things like that. So it's not as stressful. So they give us a lot to help, and they don't want us to work at home. And if it's working from home, it's a day that we have a professional development day where it's half at home or half at work, and it's all training, and we're still done early, and it's, things that we get paid for. They don't want us to do more than we do outside of the classroom. So I got lucky enough to get with a program that helps to take care of us. But I do the same thing, like Trey was saying. If I really, really need to decompress, I come home, I'll take I just vibe out, chill. Music has always been my thing. You guys know that's why, here. I mean, I read, sometimes we'll just sit in silence, honestly. Like, I will go upstairs, there's nothing going on, just lay out on the bed. Like, give me a minute. I do meditate. Those are things that I got into within the last few years, because I had to start centering myself in order to not snap, because if I don't deal with what I need to deal with myself, I am no good to those two upstairs.
Absolutely.
And I'm no good to the my little ones in the classroom. And whatever I can do to decompress. If I go out with my girls, it's happy hour afterwards. Sometimes me and my coworker will go down the street and get hookah on a Friday and vent about all the crazy stuff that happened that day. But different methods. But thank goodness I have so many good families that I've been able to work with, and I'm so transparent and open with them that even they take care of me. They're like, "What do you need?" They find out I'm going on vacation and I was off these last couple of days. They say, "Good for you." You know,
Right.
they don't try to stress me out because we are that open with each other, and I do keep that line of communication open with my parents, and you know, they try to make sure that we're good too. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
J Trey.
Well, like I said before, I smoke a lot of weed, but but beyond that, and I will say this because you know, being the classes I've had, you know, I get more than my fair share of behavior problems, and I'm I think you guys know right now, like what you see is what you get, and that's pretty much how I am with my students. So sometimes when things have just gotten, you know, a little bit too crunk, I have to remind them. I'm like, whoa, are we opening door number 3? Is that what you want to happen? For real. And that's like they slow down and then I slow down. And because I also know kids, and you all know this, children watch us. They watch what we do, not so much what we say.
Yes.
And I was at a school where there were some mad, disrespectful people. They've seen me get cussed at by a campus aide in my classroom. And I know what I know what Jennifer Trejo would do, but Miss Trejo had to take a deep breath, really take emotional woosah, and pull it together and politely throw that man out of my classroom. You know, and so that's actually helped, knowing that it forces me, because I have a temper in the mouth, so that actually helps somewhat. But I will also say, I've always had very strict boundaries about, like, I know we all say my kids, you know, about our students, and I care about my students very, very much. But I also make sure to recognize, like, I'm not their mother or father. They got people. And even if they don't have people, then I'm trying to be that person in this space, but I'm not trying to take it home with me because I got enough on my plate at home. And everybody knows I love my plants and my dog and my cat. Those are my happy spaces. And listening to music.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
good.
Go ahead, Chris.
Are any of you guys in therapy for yourselves? Because like I mentioned earlier, my sister finally got into therapy. She has 2 kids in the school system. I'm going to have a 2nd grader and a 1st grader. She's pregnant with her 3rd baby, and she's a 1st grade teacher. And she finally was like, okay, I need to like get my thoughts out and get some help. And I think it's free through her school district. So she's taking advantage of her resources there.
I might be the odd out of the bunch. I don't. Oh, you don't either. I don't do therapy. It doesn't work for me. I need my time alone. That helps me.
Okay.
I am, but it's not related to like work stuff. That's just trying. Life be life, and sometimes. So,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But I am the first one to encourage people when they feel that, just period, point blank, especially with the kids. Just find somebody you trust and just say something. If they're really your friend, they're going to listen and they're just going to be there for you, you know? And I will say this is I think there's been a lot of pressure put both on kids and on teachers. And actually, I just feel on all of us as a society to hurry up and go back to normal. It's gone. Like, I'm still just realizing so many ways that 2019 just seems like a whole different era.
Right.
And that's a lot of, and it's a lot of pressure to expect the kids knowing that they're trying to do better in school, and pressure for us to feel like we're okay if we're not. It's a lot. And I don't think people realize that. And at least as adults, we have avenues and we can manage the pressure. But for these kids, to me, the landscape is still shifting. I have some very serious concerns about what it's going to be like when it gets cold, you know, and whatever new strain of COVID, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, so that if there was ever an important message that I wish they could get out the same way they used to do the vaccine commercials and some of the talk about it mental health commercials.
Yes.
Is I really wish they just put them back out there, like reminding people of just, even if some people are not going to be able to achieve kindness, unfortunately, but let's just have a basic understanding that anybody I pass on the street, anybody next to me in traffic, we all went through the same fucking 2 years together. 2.5, 3 in some cases.
Yeah.
You're right. Wow.
And then Diva, you said that you're not doing therapy, right?
No, I'm not. But I mean, the thing is that I'm never opposed to it. I just have never had to. If it was something that I felt like I needed to, because I was at that point at one time in my life, but that was years ago. But I handled that in a different manner. But like my therapy is literally me venting to people that I can talk to, and I'm quick to advocate for myself when it comes to work, just like I advocate for my students. And I don't play. I push for whatever's necessary because y'all not about to mess with me or my sanity and my job necessary. And then at that point, if y'all don't want to hear what I'm saying, you can't say I didn't tell you. And I'm quick. My mentality is I can only do what I can do, but I'm gonna make sure I do what I can do and whatever I can't do. And after that, don't say I did it. So, but no, it's nothing. It's nothing I was never open to. It's just something I've never needed quite yet. At least I haven't felt the need to.
Okay. Well, that's good because as a Scorpio, I don't trust too many people. So I'm glad that I go to therapy every week. I'm just being honest. I had a couple people that I used to could trust, but I get rid of friends too much. So I try not to open up to too many people. So I just
my therapist is the one person I can say anything to, period. I can't tell it to my family. I can't tell it to my friends. I can say it to her though.
Yeah, I'm like Chris, my circle of friends, and I do. I mean, I have to go to therapy, and I open up to it because I have to, of course, dump a lot, and I have to debrief. So I look forward to it. But sometimes I have my close circle that I just, can vent to because I'll be like, I just need to vent. I need to rant, and I'm just blessed to be able to have, to be able to do that. Because I'm like, Chris, it's very hard for me to trust, based off of, previous situations that I have dealt with. So, therapy is, a good thing to be able to dump all of that. And then you have your close circle. And like Breezy said, he got a social worker right in the house. I'm like, Breezy and Jay. Sometimes I just need a moment and I just want to be alone. I just need to go in my corner and just like have that time and then, to restore. So I heard Breezy said something about where he put boundaries in place when I'm at work, my time is my time. When I'm at home, no emails, no anything like that. What about you, Diva? Do you still work when you come home, or do you have those boundaries as well?
I try. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Because I feel like I'm like freezing. I do try to put boundaries in place. Period. Right. At work, in my life. Trey will tell you well. I put boundaries in place. Period. But yeah, definitely. I'm like, if I don't really have to do it at home, I'm like, not anymore. I told you I've been down that road, and it would have been up all night doing too much. I was stressed out. Am I gonna hit this deadline? It was a lot. And I mean, when I say papers all over my living room floor and couch, you know what I mean? It was too much. So I definitely put boundaries in place because if I don't need to do it at home, I don't. If I want to do it at home, and it's not gonna take me a lot of time, it's something I choose to do. That's different. And the beauty about my job is I come home or I'll go to work with whatever it is. And they're like, when'd you do that? And I was like, oh, I just finished it last night at home. She's like, write it in the book so you can get paid for it.
And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people do all this overtime and don't get to be reimbursed.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Diva, I'm moving to LA now.
baby.
What about you, Jay?
I have to say that oddly enough, working from home has actually increased my boundary. Like, I'm done at 3. I'm gonna close this laptop, that part of my life. Because before, when I was at school and with everything that comes with the 4,000 student campus and things like that, or even the smaller campus I was at, you had to deal with coworkers and stupid administrators. I'm driving in traffic, stuck in traffic, fuming. I'm coming home exhausted and don't even want to really play with my dog. I just want to lay down. So this, I get to focus. I ain't got no annoying coworkers bothering me. I can sit, and this is the most locked in I actually have gotten a chance to be with my students, as opposed to dealing with constant interruptions and campus bullshit. And when I'm done, I'm done. Close the laptop. Sometimes there is stuff because we had a really, really bad hack, our school district, and we're still recovering from that. So I'm backlogged from a ton of paperwork. So I work on that. But other than that, nah. Work and home, very separate.
Okay. All right, Krish.
I'm loving all the feedback from you guys. I have you in my heart because I deal with it with my sister. How are your districts with helping you with supplies? Because I know the first few years with my sister, me and my mom had to like pretty much buy everything for her classroom because I know that's a strain on you too. And I know all teachers don't have that support. So how are you guys with the financials with it? Because it seemed like there was no money to help the teachers do their classrooms. Yet when the pandemic started, everybody got iPads. And I'm like, wait.
Right, the laptop. All the Chromebooks were available all of a sudden.
It's like, what happened? Like, what are y'all feedback on that?
I can explain that part, actually. And that's the one thing I would give my former superintendent a ton of credit for, is that I would say within a month, he had already eked out arrangements with Google for Chromebooks, with Verizon for hotspots, then with AT&T for hotspots. To be honest, for LA Unified, he actually bridged the pandemic, bridged very shaky, but did bridge the digital divide. That within about 2 months, he was making deals with the private sectors. I mean, they're writing it off because they're giving it to the district and they're providing, what I'm talking about, the use of the Wi-Fi, the network stuff. But yeah, that's why all the technology rolled out. It was a massive ass need, knowing that we weren't going back.
Wow. And could you guys use this technology to possibly, because I don't want to put more on you, but have you ever thought about having weekly Zoom meetings with your students, like just to check in, like mental health check-in times or anything?
Like outside of school, they would do it?
Yeah,
because while I'm in school with them, I have my kids, some of them from 7:30, 8:30 in the morning until 5:30. So I have them all day. But I do monthly check-ins with their parents, Zooms and whatnot, until we can do them in person again.
Okay.
See, with me, we have a mentor program where I'm assigned 10 kids. We have what we call a strong start and strong finish. I meet with my kids every week. We have one-on-one time. It always starts with their mental health first, and then we dive into their education, and then we dive into goal setting. So nothing outside of that situation there. And one of the kids that I mentioned earlier who couldn't stand me, I'm his favorite teacher now because we had those check-ins and we connect frequently that way. This is the one kid that were messaging me on IG. I'm like, dude, stop talking to me on IG, man. Like, Jesus. Give me some time to myself. But I would say for my administration, I get what I want. One, because of the facial cleanser that I wear. That's a joke. That's a joke. You got me like a facial cleanser.
Oh my God.
Is Miss Tipstar still in here?
Quick pause for Miss Tipstar.
Was that
there she is. There she is.
She's done. She said, I'm done.
There she is.
One thing I'm able to do is to really break down why I need what I need And from that point, she's developed the trust. I like me being in the science department, the head of the science department. Like when I say I get what I want, my administrator gives me her credit card and say, "Go get it." But I developed that trust, and she see what I do, and she know that I'm going to do it with integrity as well. And so she's willing to bite the bullet or say, "Hey, I'm trying to support this program that he's trying to build in our school." And so I'm very fortunate in that sense where I get what I want.
That is awesome. Did I say before, salute to all three of y'all, because just tonight, hearing just the differences in what you all have experienced, I have to salute your mental health, because I have seen some people in the chat be like, salute to you because it's no way I could teach. Some people don't have the patience and they don't have the love. And you all do this day in and day out and go the extra distance for your students. You don't just do the basics. You go the extra distance for your students, and what you see is right, and you see what needs to be done, and you set those boundaries. And I love the fact that you all do those check-ins, those mental health check-ins with your children. And Breezy, you're right. This is layers to this. And this is why I say this is probably going to be a series, because I want to dive deeper into, again, the parent situation, and have parents on the panel with you all as we discuss these matters. Because as I'm hearing, maybe that may be some of the cause of some of the mental health situations, because are the parents listening? Are they going through the book bags? Because I used to go through my children's book bags every day. Like, I would dump them out. They would say, "Oh, I'm finished my homework." I'm going in looking at agendas, the whole nine, where some parents, "I'll finish my homework." Okay, get out my face, type situation. So the layers are there, and it's like, okay, where do we start going first? And this is the first step, is like breaking it open. And now we have to kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? What's the next step, the next critical step?
Can I give you a sneak peek to that?
Yes.
A sneak peek to the parent situation?
Yes.
This is a very unfortunate part that I observe over time too. What we tend to find is there are a lot of single parents in the school district, and in many cases, they're young in the inner city. What I've seen in this case here, the boys tend to give the male teachers a lot of pushback. And that stems from when you have these parent-teacher conferences, and you will see the communication with the mom and the son. Their moms have pushed this agenda that these guys are no good. And when you have a guy like me who's stern, who holds high expectations no matter who you are, they see me as this deadbeat dad who's trying to tell them what to do. And I've seen this over years and over the years, and it's so hard for me to reach the boys than it is the girls. And vice versa, the girls who have single parent homes with their moms, what are girls craving when they're young? A dad, someone to protect them. And so who they cling to? They cling to the male teachers a lot of times too. And so I've seen this trend over the 16 years that I've been teaching. And so that's a whole nother component, like a sneak peek of what goes on when it comes to the parenting portion.
I mean, if I had a teacher that was like, babe, I'd be like, hey.
Yeah. I would try to be cute every day. Like,
yeah, I'd be like, hey, Mr. Breezy, I brought you an apple today.
I need some extra tutoring.
I'll be in the front row, my paper, everything.
Hey, Mr. Breezy. Mr. Breezy, I need 5 minutes after class.
Right? Extra
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
We'll be like, Professor Breezy, You know?
Be like,
But,
hey.
but I just, this has just been like amazing. I didn't know what I was opening, doing this, but now I'm glad I did because now we move to the next step of this um, critical process. And you all really stand in between the gap.
Yeah.
And when you're in between the gap, that's a lot. You all are in the middle. So it's like we're going to continue closing the gap on this. Um, but we would like each of you to leave us with some last words. So, Trish, I'm going to let you go with that.
Oh, last words. I'm not a parent yet, but I like I said, I'm still very passionate about this subject. I thank all teachers. I thank all social workers. Like I could never be any of those. You guys are definitely like this pandemic. This pandemic pretty much showed us that parents are not involved in the kids like they need to be, and they complained about it and they fussed about it and fought about it. And it's like, look, you would think after that they would be like, oh, okay, maybe I need to be more involved, but obviously they're not. And we thank you guys because I'm one of the ones that say I could never be a teacher. I don't have the patience. I'd rather be in the healthcare system. And some people say they can't be a nurse. So, but I love you guys. I thank you. And I know we thank you for your service. You're definitely essential workers. We love you.
Definitely.
And we care about you.
Definitely. J. Trey, any last words?
Just kind of what I've said throughout the stream is I do think we're going to have to extend a lot of grace to this micro generation of kids. They went through a lot. It's going to take a while for them to catch up. So, and I may be even speaking about some people in the chat about their own kids. Let's just extend grace and understanding that we will ultimately get to where we need to be with our children. It just may take a while.
Yeah.
Awesome. Earl Breezy.
Okay, so I want to also mirror what Jay mentioned about grace, but with grace, it has to be balanced with that as well. One thing that I leave with us, and this is for everybody in the chat because everybody knows someone who's a parent that have kids in the school system, including myself. It is our duty to hold everybody accountable, like everybody. How many times you've been on Facebook and you hear something going on, and I'm pretty sure you know that person that has something going on, these bad doings? We got to learn to check our friends, check ourselves to ensure that we can promote some sort of change. And we have to return to the village process, which we lack.
Yes.
So once we return to that village, I think we can have a better system. Not perfect, but better. And I think we can go in the right direction in that case.
Well said. Well said. Diva.
No, Fave just said exactly what I tell my parents at every opening meeting I have with them from the gate when they get to know me before their child comes in my class. I tell them it takes a village. And at the end of the day, this is not going to be about what I do with your child in the classroom or what my co-teacher does. It's going to be what we do together in order to help this child have a healthy development and start their education journey. And with that being said, like how you were saying, checking in with the children, do it at home too. Ask your kids how they're doing. Don't tell them how they're doing. Don't tell them how they're feeling, because we tend to do that because our folks did that with us because they didn't know better, right? And when you're being told how you feel over and over and over again, because they want to assume that's how you feel or they think how you're supposed to feel, you don't get in touch with your own feelings and you can't identify them. So check in with your children all the time, as early as them being able to talk.
Yeah.
And dead serious. We do this every day with our kids. We sit around in circle and I have emotional flashcards. I have, different things identifying feelings. And this is what we teach them. and we don't speak for them, don't answer for them, let them figure it out. And then they start learning that, and that's when they're able to start processing their own feelings and identifying them, and they're able to communicate and deal with other people. So doing those things, I can't blame the parents for everything. There's no parenting handbook, period. Right? There is no parenting handbook. But what I do is encourage parents to go beyond certain things, or talk to their teachers if they have questions or concerns, or listen to their teachers when things are brought to them, or caregivers that may be of concern, and go from there. Be open-minded about it, because we see your children in a different aspect than others may, because we deal with multiple types of children every day. So have some grace to the parents, have some grace with the kids. You know, people be open-minded, work together, communicate. That is the biggest thing. If that communication doesn't happen from any of the parties, nothing happens for the betterment of that child or their mental health.
Thank you, Breezy, for putting that in the chat. You get what you expect, not what you expect.
Yep.
That should be on a t-shirt.
You know what? That should be on a t-shirt. Can somebody make it Breezy? Yeah. We need that on a t-shirt, Breezy.
Yes.
That's life. That is life. Always. So Krish, I'm going to, shout out our team, and then we're going to close it out. We're going to go over to Finesse. So we hope that this has been informative. I know it was informative for myself, just being a parent and, being on that side to really listen to what our educators deal with on a daily basis. And it's opened up, again, what Breezy said, layers. And now we have to, move to the core part of it. So it will be a series to this, because it's a lot. Like all three of them said, it's a lot to this. Not just on, just this spectrum of it, because as I see, educators are in between that gap. So where do we do, or what can we put in motion to close that gap? So thank you everyone for coming. I want to shout out our team, which is Lex Diamonds, DJ Tank, Felicia Splishy, Joy Lex, I saw you come in, Sissy, M. Claudie, the Mrs. Sweet Tea, Miss Yvonne, Krish, 11, Jennifer, Fran, Sincere to DJ Prodigy, although he's, a ghost most of the time. Light Eyes, Latest Truth. We have a dope team, and more to join. I saw Papa Dopeness in here, and he was just amazing, surprising us at the Fedoras and Cigars Music Festival. So that was beautiful. We have a beautiful set of people just in this room and on Twitch, period. So please stay to ride this raid, to support the next streamer. You know how I feel about supporting. Even if you can go and stay for 5-10 minutes, well, actually 20, give them 20. I know it's late, but hang in there, because we all had to start somewhere. And just remember, stay dope, stay true to yourself, and be the best version of you.
Thank you, Beauty, for having us.
Yeah, thank you so
much for being here. So,
and anybody that wants to be on the next panel, parents that want to be involved, please message Beauty for You so we can get you into the panel, please.
Yes, that would be awesome. Definitely. We would love to have parents on the panel with all the comments and interaction we saw in the chat. So please make sure you reach out to us. So we're going to give you all's night back. If you can ride over with us, or Whisper Krish, please. I'm really working with her on her her co-hosting and being very comfortable with doing so, and she's doing an amazing job. So shout out to Krish.
Krish, you're doing your thing. Krish, you're doing your thing.
Doing her
I'm
thing.
trying.
She's getting it. Yeah. So shout out to you all. We'll give you your time back and we're going to get out of here. So love you all. Chris, you stay behind. So much love. Dre Trey, my family, Breezy. I'm always ask, why are you this way? But I love it. And Diva.
Beauty, thanks for having me. It's an
All right.
honor to be on the panel.
You'll be back. This is gonna be a series, so you all be there. So get your mind ready.
And see, I was on my best behavior today too.
You were.
Fave, good job. That's because you got him talking about his passion. That's why I know how you get that conversation. We've done it
because we had to be professional.
A little bit.
Y'all a mess. I love y'all to pieces.
Yeah. Everybody have a wonderful night. Catch you on these streets.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
And it's flu season. Everybody wash your hands. Wash your hands and don't touch your face. I think we're already over now.
All right.
Well, that was amazing.
Let me end it. Hold on. 1 second.